Welcome to Sports Tech HQ, a show where we explore the cutting edge of technology that is transforming the world of sports. I'm Jeff Hentz, and I'm here with Kyle Armstrong, the founder and CEO of RefReps, a company that has developed an innovative online education system to train the next generation of great sports officials. Kyle, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us about RefReps. Just lay it all out. What do you do? How do you do it?
Well, the primary thing we are on a mission to help the world see the game through the eyes of the officials. It's very, very important to us. Officiating so underserved generally, and oftentimes it has a really negative connotation. We just want to help people understand who officials are, what they do, and how meaningful they are. So we actually developed a software and then an entire curriculum for primarily high schools and colleges to teach sports officiating as a class. So it's been amazing, growing rapidly, but we've got about 1,000 high schools and organizations across the country, and high school students go to math, science, English, intro to sports officiating.
Wow. So this is a curriculum play.
Absolutely.
To address a shortage of referees, both in youth sports and beyond?
Absolutely. So huge shortage nationally at the lower levels. The average age of a sports official has been going up consistently for about 50 years. The average age of a high school sports official right now is a little over 57 years old.
Wow.
And we just can't, traditionally, we haven't been able to get young people interested in sports officiating.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to get them excited about it. And I just kind of thought back to where I started, athlete and love sports. I could have taken a sports officiating class in high school, no brainer.
Yeah.
So we built it.
Right. And you're giving them, really empowering them to earn some money too, right?
Absolutely.
So they get licensed. And so all sports, what sports do you kind of play in?
We've 14 different sports.
Okay. Can you name them all?
Yeah, oh, man, put me on the spot.
Yeah.
But the primary, basketball, football, baseball, softball, volleyball are our big ones.
Okay.
Soccer, the lacrosses, field hockey, water polo's coming, wrestling.
That's pretty good.
Pretty close.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Water polo officiating.
Mm-hmm.
Are they in the water or are they on the deck?
They're on the deck. But crazy. So interesting to learn about that.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
wild.
So how did this start for you?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Why'd you get into this?
Go back to the very beginning.
Okay.
Went to college at Ball State.
Yeah.
I'm a Hoosier, born and bred in Indiana. Loved basketball like every good Hoosier kid.
Yeah.
And, I was going to be the next Michael Jordan.
Yeah, me too.
Right? Except I'm short and I'm slow and I can't shoot and all the things that you kind of need to be able to do.
Yeah.
And so go to college and I saw an ad for intramural basketball official. I thought, this is going to be the easiest job in history. How hard could this possibly be?
Sure.
And I learned fast. It's a lot harder than you think.
For intramural basketball.
Intramural basketball.
Yeah.
And I went to the night classes for 3 days and learned, the GA who taught this class was just brilliant. I mean, this guy really gets it and he understands it. And so I had all these advantages, basketball player,
Yep.
fairly relatively good at soaking up information. And then you just have this teacher that's just off the charts. Well, fast forward to now, he's an NBA official. That's what I learned from.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I have all the advantages. My first game I ever go out to officiate, I'm in the lead as a basketball official on the end line. Person goes up for a rebound, lands. They land in Yorktown. They're 5 miles out of bounds, and I'm looking right at it. And I swallowed the whistle. I didn't blow the whistle because it was so fast. And I'm like, what in the world just happened?
Yeah.
And then, 15 years later, this idea comes, well, what if I could harness that experience and make it better for the future of officiating? Here we are.
Yeah. So 15 years. So tell us what happened in between those 15 years.
There's so much time do we have here, but got out of college, started a career in the golf industry. Economy kind of tanked right as I was beginning and got a corporate job. I rose up the ranks really quickly in about 16 months and realized I hate this. I cannot do corporate life. I can't sit behind a desk. It's not for me. Quit my job, bought a whiteboard. That was where it all began. If I could figure something out myself. Started the first company. That was an experience, the trials and tribulations, you could make a movie about that first experience.
Yeah.
And, a few years later, started the second company, ran that for about 10 years.
Okay.
Starting just right on the cusp of it really taking off, COVID hits.
Okay.
And it was in the officiating industry as well. Upload video as sports officials kind of collaborate with the network and break video down. Well, COVID hits. no sports, no officials, no video being recorded, no collaboration to do. We just couldn't survive. So 10 years and it's gone like that. Just disappeared. And so it was, either go cry in a dark room for a while and go back to a 9 to 5 or buy another whiteboard. I bought another whiteboard. And then, out of everything that happened with COVID, it got quiet and I could just think and plan and figure it out again. And it was the best thing that ever happened in my career.
Yeah. So entrepreneurship's all about finding a problem and solving it. So how did you identify there's a problem? Like what, were you mining for data? How did you realize there was this huge shortage?
Yeah. Well, I had been in the officiating industry, education space, technology space for about those dozen years. And so we kind of knew the data points. We knew what was coming. Average age is going up. Shortage is, every year we get less and less officials that are sticking around. They're quitting in droves. And then it was kind of that perfect storm. As we learned more about COVID, we learned the susceptible age was up there. And we just kind of thought, man, the average age is going up. They're the susceptible group coming out of this. It's going to get bad fast. Yeah. And there's going to be a huge drop off in the number of sports officials. And so we just went to work. If we could get young people in and get them excited, we have a real chance to turn this around. Do it through the high school classroom. Started building as fast as we could.
Okay. So through high school. So you and I chatted, maybe it's been a year or so ago, and it seems like something has happened in the last 12 months for you at RefReps and your team at RefReps. Can you identify like what was kind of that turning point? You're just starting out. You mentioned you started after COVID and you've been doing this for a couple of years, but really what's happened recently?
In the last 12 months, it is just like you said, it really has exploded. I mean, it's been unbelievable, and we're fortunate and lucky, but it's those 12 years that I spent. I mean, 12 years of building relationships, of getting to know people, of figuring out, kind of like, was it Alexander Graham Bell or Thomas Edison? I figured out all the ways not to fix this problem, which led me to the one way to fix this problem.
Sure.
But over the last 12 months, I mean, we just kind of harnessed that momentum. There is such a need, and we've really gone about evangelizing that mission. What we do is so much bigger than solving this shortage, and no one's really identified. There's no one issue that's led to this shortage. The average age going up, less people getting interested, but then the treatment of officials, sportsmanship, all those things kind of tanking. Well, that helping the world see the game through the eyes of the officials, part of that's literal. We use point of view video.
You do.
And I mean, we can show you what it looks like to be an official, and it'll open your eyes fast. But the other side's philosophical. If we can help you understand officials, really realize how hard this is, even if you don't ultimately become an official, you're that when you have kids and you're that fan in the stands and grandma's going nuts over there, losing her mind.
Yeah.
Have you ever done this before? Yeah. Do you know how hard to maybe just take it down a notch? Yeah. And we really believe that's going to be part of it. When people understand, it's just going to change a lot of things in the future of sports.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the tech then. So you mentioned point of view, also just the delivery of the education, the systems, how you're working with those high schools on the curriculum. Is that all done through tech? What are you doing there?
Yeah. So everything we provide is digital, which is really exciting because, this curriculum, what that affords us the opportunity to do, it's super flexible in delivery, which is important. If a school wants to teach this as a physical education class, they can kind of adjust how they want to deliver it and meet the needs of their learners. If they want to do a full standalone, it's just sports officiating, they can do that. If they need to do it during a exploration time. We don't have a dedicated class period for this, but we have an hour a week where kids can kind of, so it's really flexible, which is important.
Okay.
The other thing that's really great about it is the rules and points of emphasis and things like that are constantly changing in the sports world. So a major play happens and someone gets injured, which we hate to see, but now a new rule comes out to try to help with player safety, right?
Yeah.
And as that changes, since we're digital, that can change on the fly. So if a young person is learning football, the rules of football and how to become an official in the middle of the class, this big new initiative or big new rule comes out, they can learn it immediately.
Like the hip drop tackle.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
So our young people, if that would apply to the lower levels, they'll learn it on the
Got it.
fly right away.
Okay.
So they'll always have the most accurate information. But I think the thing that really makes us unique, we have an entire curriculum for these 14 sports that teaches young people the rules of the game, the mechanics they'll use as an official, positioning, what to look for, whose call this is. I mean, we really give them a deep dive into this, but it's going back to kind of how I got started. We use that point of view video. We have what we call interactive video training packs.
Mm-hmm.
And you in the classroom, the instructor puts up on the Promethean board or the projector, they put up a video from the perspective of the official. You look out onto the basketball court and see what that referee saw exactly as they saw it, exactly as they heard it. You hear the coach in your ear. I mean, it's everything. It's the speed of the game, the feel of the game, the sound of the game. You watch that play, and then you get challenged as an individual to make a call. Was it a block? Was it a charge?
Sure.
Player control, team control, and you have to answer. Right then, you got to answer. And then we have an expert official come on screen and actually teach you about that play.
About that rule and that
what
play.
happened, what rule was applied, why was it applied, how can you be more successful in the future?
Okay.
And so it really becomes like a video game. It's that interactive experience where you can take what you learn in the classroom, practically apply it, but you're not thrown to the wolves out in a game
Grandma
with
yelling.
actually yelling.
Yeah.
And so what we're seeing, we track a lot of data, do a lot of surveys of these young people. Confidence is off the charts by the time they actually go referee that first game, because they get out there and it's like, oh, I've seen this. I've felt this. I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to do this. And they're not as terrified when they get out there.
Who else is doing this?
Nobody.
Just you.
Just us.
Yeah, that's really unique. So you get the point of view. How are you recording? Like, do you have a studio when you have these refs explaining these rules? How are you pulling all this together?
That's the crazy thing. I mean, we're a ed tech company. We're a video production company. We kind of do it all. We produce everything in-house. We did a really neat video shoot in partnership with the Midwest Football Officials Clinic. We went to Nippert Stadium, University of Cincinnati Stadium, did a full-scale video production. We had officials wearing the cameras. We had drones in the sky capturing video, cameras all over the field.
Wow.
So we get this video from all over the place, and then we intercut it together. We have a studio. We bring the officials in, and they actually break it down. So what's really neat about it as well is traditionally for training of officials, they use video, but it's always that coach's camera, 35 rows up in the press box. You can't see what's going on. You don't have a good angle. We show you that. We show you the point of view. We have drones looking down like a Madden. I mean, it looks like a Madden game.
Yeah.
So it really relates and to these young people. It's what they've grown up doing, and it just connects.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty fascinating. A lot of content that you're filtering through. So I'm thinking about the marketplace. So you've got licensed officials that you're working with that are helping you with actually getting individuals licensed. Then you're working with school systems, or youth leagues, maybe.
Yeah.
How about high school athletic associations?
So
State level.
Yeah, we launched this formally in August of 2022. That's when we rolled out our curriculum. We did a pilot program in January of 22. We had 7 high schools in Indiana that piloted this.
Okay.
We were using a third-party platform. It went really well, and we realized really quickly, like, this is not scalable. We won't survive if we use this third-party platform to do things the way we're doing it.
You're going to break it.
We're going to break it.
Yeah.
And so in May, I kind of got the team together and said, hey, these last 5 months have been incredible. And so we're going to take everything we've done. We're going to throw it in the trash can. We're going to start over. And they're like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And from May to August, we just dug in and we rebuilt everything from scratch. All the tech, all the content, all the material, all the curriculum, everything. Rebuilt it. We launch August to January, goes exceptionally well. We rolled out a partnership program for state high school associations because they are the ones on the front of this need. And, you have the product adoption life cycle. Traditionally, you've got the innovators, you got the early adopters, you got the, kind of that cycle that you go through. From January to June of now 2023, we had 24 states sign partnership agreements with us.
I just got goosebumps.
In 6
Cool.
months.
Yeah.
I mean, we just kind of caught that wave.
Wow.
We're in the process. We'll be over 30 here very shortly.
30 states.
Got partnerships and alliances with the National Federation of High School Associations, the NCAA, the NBA, the Junior NBA. We've got some really neat things coming that I wish I could talk about, but just companies and organizations I never could have dreamed that we're getting calls from. And I'm so proud of the team and what they've accomplished. It's them. I mean, they've done incredible work to make this happen and to really fill that need. But again, just evangelize that mission. You know, I'm a big believer that, if you can leave, I'm a big believer that the greatest companies create. They give you new ways of living, thinking, and doing business, oftentimes solving a problem you never knew you had because you never knew there was another way. That's from a book called Play Bigger, and it was super foundational to my vision of business. And they just bought into that and do it every day.
Play Bigger.
Play Bigger.
Okay.
Tremendous book. If you're an entrepreneur, go buy it right now.
Okay. Play Bigger. So, let's talk about the team then. So you've probably grown with the success that you've had. How big is the team now, and kind of what positions? What are kind of some of the key positions?
We have 14 full-time employees. We've got educators, doctors in education. We've got sports officials. The great thing that's really dynamic about our team, about half the team has a tremendous history in sports officiating. My business partner was a referee in the NFL for 25 years. Okay. We have our director of officiating education, Big Ten football official, MAC football official, director of software engineering, Division I women's basketball official. Really strong backgrounds in officiating, so they understand what the industry needs, and they can build tools to meet those needs. But then we have about half the team, zero background in officiating, never picked up a whistle.
More video content.
Yes, but it also just makes us really dynamic, because sometimes when you're too close to things, you don't have that outside perspective. And so it really meshes well. We've had 4 interns that have come through college programs with us. We hired 3 out of the 4. The 4th one went into ministry. So great for him. The only reason we didn't hire him. And it's young. We're very young and very mission oriented, and really, really unique, really good group of people.
Yeah, that's great. So don't like to name drop, but I did look at your website recently and there's a familiar face. Peyton Manning's on your website. Can you, how'd you get that done?
It's an unbelievable story. But so business partner, referee in the NFL.
He's your business partner?
Yeah, I wish. That'd be great. My business partner, referee in the NFL for 25 years. Okay. Thanksgiving-ish of 23. Things are going pretty well. State partnerships started to stack up. And he goes, I got an idea. What's your idea? He goes, I'm gonna call Peyton Manning. Okay, that's nice. And he goes, I'm gonna get him to do an endorsement. And I'm like, okay, you've officially gone off your ladder. That's not happening. Yeah. He goes, no, I'm gonna do it. So okay. And so he calls me. Right before, probably a couple weeks into December. He goes, guess who I just talked to? Who? Peyton Manning. Yeah. He's doing an endorsement video for him. No, he's not. Yeah. Sure enough. A week or so later, we got it done. That's cool. So he knew him from, he refereed his football games for almost his entire career.
Yeah, that's a cool story.
It helps to know people. The network is real. That's for sure.
Yeah. So how many would you say today have been trained on your system?
That's really neat. So launched August of 2022. Okay. Roughly 20 months later, we've had over 20,000 new individuals go through our platform. That's new sports officials. So again, it was kind of perfect storm. January of 22, we do this pilot program. February of 22, the NFHS, National Federation of State High School Associations, releases an article. Through the pandemic, they had 50,000 high school sports officials discontinue their service as sports officials. That's 20% of all of them in the country, 20% in that quick period of time. And now here we are 20 months later, 40% of it's back in the pipeline. Wow.
That's amazing. 20,000 people.
Over 20,000
across the U.S.
Across the U.S.
Are you solely in the U.S. right now?
No. We have classes being taught in 43 states, Germany, South Korea, the Marshall Islands.
No kidding.
Crazy. Military bases.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
that's where we've expanded to.
So. I'm going to put you on the spot. Yeah. If you don't know it, but what's the average age, would you say, of the new folks that you're training? Because you said Because the average age of an official in high school sports you mentioned was
57, a little over 57.
Okay.
So we have some states where we actually work with the adult officiating population as well.
Okay.
So if you're a new official in
Yep.
Ohio, West Virginia, Mississippi, New York, in certain sports, if you want to become an official, you have to take one of our classes. It's a requirement to do that.
Okay.
You do it online, independent study. So we have that blend. If you take full platform,
Mhm.
the average age is about 36 and change
Okay.
of individuals going through our platform right now, which is, again, a really good trend
36.
in the right direction, but really, really heavy population of juniors and seniors in high school.
Okay.
Huge.
Can you give maybe listeners an idea of if somebody is armed with, certification and they get certified in basketball or football or whatever it is, maybe it's youth sports. What's the earning potential for say a high school student that's graduating, might be going to college and needs a little,
Yeah.
a little cash in their pocket? Like, what's the opportunity for somebody?
So we even go kind of back and forth with this internally. Traditionally, sports officiating has always been a side gig.
Yes.
Teachers, they get their license, and if they're not coaching, they go officiate. People with flexible schedules go officiate, and it's just a way to earn a little bit of extra money. I think that's changing. We're in that gig economy. I think so many people, they drive for Uber, they go get our groceries, they do DoorDash, they do those kind of things. We had a young person, a senior in high school. They graduated with us in May. They went in Ohio. They went and immediately got their officiating license by June 1st in the state of Ohio. They worked youth baseball games, travel baseball games, like 10U and below, age 10 and below. That's like Coach Pitt. That's stealing money.
Sure.
They worked from June he worked from June to the middle of August.
Okay. Summer job.
Made $19,000 in 2.5 months.
Wow.
He applied himself. I mean, he went
Sure.
and worked a lot. You can make a lot of money doing this. Now, traditionally, if you work a high school football game on a Friday night, you'll make $75, $80. You go to your local, wherever you are in the country, go to your local youth soccer league this weekend. I guarantee you there are games that need officials.
Yep.
You work 5 hours in a day, and you're going to leave there with $300, $400, $500 in a day.
Okay.
For 5 hours a week.
Okay. Do you get on that side of the system on the scheduling and working with the youth organizations, or
we don't schedule?
You don't do any of that.
But we are kind of that conduit. So we work with a lot of the companies that do.
You do, okay.
And so we're passing them along, which is really, really nice. It's that practical application. Well, now I've learned it. Where do I go get jobs? Well, we'll get you into that network as well.
Okay, that's good. Just a tactical question. I think about like the bifurcation of rules in certain sports. And how you deal with that. I suppose the certified official, they might be certified NFL or NCAA, but how it goes all the way down to high school. How do you deal with kind of different rules in the same sport for different levels? That's
just another whole nother story that's fascinating about sportsmanship and those kind of things.
Yeah.
What you watch on a Sunday afternoon for football is a completely different game from Friday night. Yeah. Well, and now it's completely different from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, because they don't have enough officials to make it Friday night lights anymore. But we have courses up to the collegiate level now where you can learn the rules of high school football, and you can learn the rules of NCAA football and the differences and nuances there. We have certain organizations around the country. That's another thing that's really unique. Yeah. Every state kind of has their own interpretations, and maybe they use their own mechanics, how you report, how you signal, and things like that. So we have to kind of tailor those to given states.
Okay.
But what we're really trying to do is shy away from that. We're partnering with the National Federation. Those are the rules of high school sport.
I see.
And so we're really, for years and years and years, states have done things kind of their own way. And we've started asking that question, why?
Yeah.
Why do you have your own interpreter? Well, that's just the way we've always done it.
Right.
But there's never been something that gave them a standardized opportunity to go, oh, well, you mean Indiana does it this way and Ohio does it this way, but Michigan, we do it that way? Why don't we do it the same as and so we're starting to see these light bulbs go off, and people are thinking, yeah, why are we doing it that way? And so that's another big goal, is that consistency, because, as coaches out there, one group of officials get trained one way and another one gets trained another way. And so one night you kind of they let them play.
Yeah. And
the next night they're calling ticky-tack everything. So coaches blow up. Well, they're letting it go last night. Standardization is so huge, and no one's ever done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
It's a
in
big,
43 states. So
you're in 43 states. Wow. That's fascinating. Okay. So let's talk about the entrepreneurial journey a little bit, maybe. Lift the hood a little bit. You don't have to share too much information, but just talk a little bit about kind of your being a founder of
Yep.
a sports tech company and what that means. The hustle that's involved, and probably a lot of trials and tribulations, and getting to a point where you've had this tremendous success in the last year. But how do you get there? Do you have investors involved in RefReps, advisors? You mentioned a business partner. How have you structured this out of the gate?
I think the thing that makes you so successful is just surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you and more talented than you.
Love
and
that. Yeah.
can do things you wouldn't even think about.
Yeah.
And I think that's so huge. I think the biggest thing is you have to love the project that you're going to take on, and you have to kind of build that in a way that, it's the classic start with why, right? You have to know your why. You have to know the purpose of what you're doing, because if your goal is, well, I'm going to get really famous and make a bunch of money, I can promise you,
It's not going to
give
work.
it 14 months and we'll have a 9 to 5. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But if you're passionate about what you're doing and you truly have a vision to kind of bend the future, you have to, the way things look now, by the time you get done, it should look different. I go back to, kind of the story of Uber. It seems silly now that we used to stand on the corner and kind of wave with the yellow car in the rain. Yeah. When now you just push a button, somebody shows up. That bended perception, that bended the way people think about life and industry. And I think that's so huge. I mean, if you're not doing that, you're not taking on a project that's that big, you haven't figured out your niche yet. But it's figuring that out and then just surrounding yourself with incredible people. That's what you've got to do. But you also, if you're the founder and you're the leader, it's going to be harder for a lot longer than it's going to be easier. And you have to help those people believe.
Sure.
And they have to be willing. I mean, it's got to be the right people that have the talent, but they have to believe in that mission.
Yeah. Outside capital, or you bootstrapped this?
We've bootstrapped it. Essentially, we raised $100,000 from just private and angel investors. And we did a couple bank loans, and we bootstrapped it from there. We're to the stage. We've got some of those loans paid off already, and summer should be good to us.
Yeah.
We may be debt free.
Well, congrats. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, as a parent, having 3 kids and being at a recent basketball game this winter where the referees weren't scheduled or didn't show up or something happened, and the parents ended up having to referee for a youth sport, 10, 11-year-old girls basketball. That was a moment for me when I thought about, man, there's a problem here. Yeah. You got to figure this out. So thank you for what you're doing. Congrats on the success. Good luck in the future. 5 years from now, what do you see RefReps doing?
It's going to be good. I truly believe that we are bending that perception. One of the other major issues in sports officiating is that, especially at the high school level, that's kind of the where everything kind of starts. That's where it's the most formalized. And those organizations, those local officials associations that exist at that level, they are responsible for so much. I mean, they have to go officiate games, but this is the side hustle for most of them. They have to recruit new officials, hold them accountable, get them licensed, get them trained, all recertify. They got to do all those things. And my goal 5 years from now is kind of like that Uber story. I just want people to look back and go, do you remember when we had to recruit and we had to teach and we had to get these people certified? Why couldn't RefReps have come sooner? Because that's the way officials get started. That's how they get trained more effectively. And that's what helps them stick around, because we're not just throwing them to the wolves, unprepared. And then that's led to some of the sportsmanship. We're rolling people out there that don't know what they're doing. Yeah. Because we need them that bad. Yeah. And so they're trained, they're successful, they're happy, they're making money, they stick around, and it's a better ecosystem in sports for everybody.
Yeah. That's Kyle Armstrong from RefReps, the founder and CEO. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for expanding the field of sports officiating. We look forward to staying in touch. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Sports Tech HQ. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. And remember, stay tuned for our next episode, where we will be exploring another exciting innovation in the world of sports tech.